Hello, welcome to this session on data interpretation. Now it has got a very specific agenda. This session I am going to discuss with you radar charts or spider charts or web charts or star charts. There are so many names for it. Why this specific session now? Now we're meeting after some time. Many of you wanted us to do a small DI session on radar chart explaining what it is, though I keep telling you that it's nothing different. All the DI is the same. The form in which you represent data hardly makes a difference. So if you are okay with table kind of questions, you should be okay with a line chart, with a bar graph, with a histogram, with a pie chart, with a radar chart. It can be in any form, even in the form of a funnel. I think SBI PO means last time 19, so a question based on funnel. So it can be in anything, any form. It hardly makes a difference if you can understand the data. But still, you wanted us to do it, so we thought we'll do a small session on it. So what we have done is that I have picked up the data from what appeared in IBPS PO mains 2018. So a question on radar chart, a simple question on a triangular radar chart appeared in IBPS PO mains last year. So I've picked up the data from there. I don't know, it's a memory based paper, so I'm assuming you'll be right, and framed 5 questions on it. A couple of questions based on the memory based stuff and 3 questions created on OVO. So it's a set of 5 questions based on a radar graph. That should be good enough to make you feel comfortable about a radar graph, and believe me, it's very simple. It's very simple. There's nothing there's nothing in it that should trouble you. But yes, still, if you're unfamiliar with anything, yes, it does give you a few jitters. So let me just show what a radar graph is like. So this is a radar graph. If you look at it, this is a radar graph, and this is in the form of a triangle. So I think this is the exact data that appeared in a question in a DI set last year in IBPS PO mains, and this was the data. Now let us just understand it. It's very simple, very simple. Just be with me, and we'll do 5 good questions based on this data set. So if you have done it previously, even then it will make sense for you to be with me for the next 20-25 minutes. Right, what is it like? It says the chart given below shows the percentage of literates in 3 different villages, A, B, C. So these are the villages. This is A, and this is B, and this is C, in 3 different years. Which 3 years? 16, 17 and 18. Very simple data. Now how do you look at a radar graph? Now this is not just true for this particular set, but in general, how do you look at it? It says these are 3 years, 16, 17, 18. For example, if you look at this 16, this is this blue line 16, and we're talking about village A. So this is village A. So blue line in village A, where is it? Can we look at this point? What does that mean? It means that this is 40 in front of this. So it means that 40% people of village A are literate. What does it say? The chart given below shows the percentage of literates. So the percentage of literates in village A in the year 2016 was 40. Why 2016? Here, because this is blue. Where is this blue? This is this blue. If I take this green one is this 2018. So village A 2018, what percentage of people would be literate? It will be this 60. It will be like that. Isn't it simple? So there is absolutely nothing in it. If I look at this, let's say this this one here. What is this? This is 2017. Which is this? This is B. So it means that in village B, that is the number. Now you have to be very careful with this one, because the numbers are written over here, but when you come to the other side, fine, you'll have to count it. So a good way would be you just count it like this, either from the center here or from here, so that you do not make a mistake. If you go along this line, then you might interpret it incorrectly. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4th here, so 70, 60, 50, 40. So this point here would be 40. I mean, if you look at this, look carefully, this is meeting this point. It goes like that here. So this is going to 40, but here it might be a little difficult to plot it like that. So a better way would be 70, 60, 50, 40. So you start from here, 70, 60, 50, 40, just that. So 2017 village B, again the percentage of literates in the town would be 40%. I hope this is understood. This is very simple, and it cannot be anything more than this. The only difference can be that this is 3 villages. It could have been 4 villages, 5 villages, 6 villages, and keep acquiring a different shape. So this is in the form of a triangle. It could have been a square, a rectangle, a polygon, whatever, depending upon the number of villages, but it would always run like that. Now it might look a little scary to you, but it does not pose any kind of challenges. Now this is, as I already said, is same as a web chart, a spider chart, a star chart. You can call it whatever, but yes, it's a radar chart. And this data, if it came in last year's exam, final exam, was an easy picking. Many of you did not do it, probably because it looked unfamiliar. No, it doesn't work like that. Just be sure about yourself, and then it can be done quite quickly. One thing that you could have done here is make a small table. So you could have done like that, A, B, C, right? And then you could have written those years here. This is 16, this is 17, this is 18. Fine. You do it and you just fill it up. So this is green one is at 60, green is 18. So 18A, you can say it's 60. Fine. This red one here, maroon one is at 50. This is 17. So this becomes 50. This is this blue one. Blue one is at 40. Blue one is at 40. Blue is 16. So this is 40. This is 40, 50, 60. You could have done it like that very, very quickly. But this is not really required. I mean, if you can read it like that carefully, quickly, then you do not actually need a table. If you want to do it, if you think you might struggle a bit or get confused or might make a stupid, silly error, then I would advise making a table like this, but it's not really required. Just be comfortable reading it. The most important part would be, this is not, I mean, it's not just specifically about this radar chart or anything. The general thing would be that if you are comfortable, if you are confident, if you know that even if the data comes in a new form, I'll be able to interpret it, read it, and then answer the questions, it'll mostly do the job for you. And any new data form is not going to pose any new challenges. Fine. So do not let anybody fool you by saying we are doing a lot of questions on radar chart or a funnel graph or anything like that. It does not make a difference. All these forms can be, most of these forms rather, can be formed or shown to you in the form of a simple table. Fine. So just look at it like that and hardly makes a difference. Just one more thing for DI in general and for specifically this question. You know what literacy rate is? Fine. All of you are literate people, so you know what literacy rate is. Literacy rate is, in India, it's defined like this, that it's the who is called a literate. Literate is somebody who can read and write, right? You know that. So read plus write, you are called a literate. Fine. So definition in India is that anybody above the age of 7 years who can read and write would be called a literate. So when the literacy is calculated, it considers people who are above the age of 7 years. Fine. So that's how it's calculated. For example, in 2011 census, here I think it's 74.04%. So that's the number. So when it was done, the denominator here would be the population that was above the age of 7 years. Now why I'm telling you all this? For a very specific reason. Now in this case, when it comes in the form of DI and all, it's not talking about literacy rate. It basically says the percentage of literates. Fine. So you can discount all this. Do not get into the age thing and anything like that. No, it's very simple. The total population here, this becomes the denominator, and this n here, the numerator, would be the number of literates. So number of literates, total population. In this case, it will be different from the actual literacy rate, which is calculated a little differently. So this 74.04%, this figure for India is not calculated like that. In the denominator, you would consider only those people who are above the age of 7 years. I hope you understood the difference. But in DI, to make the things simpler, it generally works like this. Literacy rate can be expressed in some other forms as well. For example, adult literacy rate. So that considers people over the age of 15 years. It can be the youth literacy rate. So it's generally between 15 and 24, things like that. But for this, for DI, make things simpler for you. So forget all this general knowledge and all. I'm telling you this because I faced this question from people. Somebody said, you cannot, you'll have to discount kids in this case. No, don't do that. Make it simpler for yourself. If anything like this is to be considered, though it's very, very unlikely, then they would mention it specifically in the question. So just be careful with this. Do not complicate things, make them simple for you. Fine. So what I'll do now is that I'll just do 5 quick, easy questions on this. It'll be some food for thought for you. The first 2 would be based on what you might have seen earlier in various memory based things, and there'll be 3 new questions. So if you have understood this, the challenge for you is to get all these 5 questions right. So get all these 5 questions right, get started. This is the first one on your screen. I'll show you all these 5 questions one by one, and then we'll discuss all of them. So this is the first question, get started. Let's discuss this one. It says the populations of village A in 16, 17 and 18 were in the ratio 3:4:5. So this is 16, 17 and 18, 3:4:5. The average yearly literate population of village A, so it means the total literate population over the 3 years divided by 3 during this period was 3038. So the total literate population combined, or the sum of the literate population of 3 years would be 3038 into 3. What was the population of the village in 2018? Now for 2018, what we'll do is we'll first look at this data for A. This is A. So this is 60% here for 18, 50% for 17, and 40% for 16. Let us assume that these numbers here are 30, 40, and 50. So what would be the if the total population in 2016 is 30, what would be the literate population? Where do you get it from? From this number. This is 40%. So this into 0.40. For 2017, it's this number here. So into 0.50. And for 2018, this is 60%. This is 0.60. So what would these numbers be? This would be 12, this would be 20, and this would be 30. You sum it up, you get 62. So basically, if I'm assuming that the population in 16, I'm talking about village A, was 30, in 17 it was 40, and in 18 it was 50. The total literate population over the 3 years, the sum is 62. Now you can use unitary method and get the answer very quickly. This 62 basically represents this number, 3038 into 3. Remember, it was the average. 3038 was the average. So what would be the sum? 3038 into 3, because it's spread over 3 years. And what do you need to calculate? The population of this village, I'm talking about village A only, in 2018. So in 2018, what is the number that we assumed? 50. So what you know is this. This is 62, which is given to you as 3038 into 3. Then what is this 50? Basic unitary method. So what would be the answer? 3038 into 3 multiplied with, what should it be? 50 by 62. And this would give you the answer as 7350, which is basically your option D here. So that becomes your answer. I'm sure you found this simple. Now, was it any tougher than the quant questions that we keep doing all the time? No. Just because there is a graph and a scary looking graph, it does not make the question tougher. Just give it a patient reading and it'll be there for the taking. I'm going to show you the next question now. This is the next question. Again, this is based on what appeared in the exam last year. And look at how simple it is. The data might be a little here and there. It's just based on memory. But yes, this is the question for you. Give it some time. Try and find the answer. It can be done very quickly. Do not go at the length of the question. It's 3 lines, but you can do it very easily. Give it a try. Alright, let's discuss it now. What does it say here? The population of village C reduced by the same number from 17 to 18, by which it reduced from 16 to 17. So the population is reducing here. So, and this. So it's like an arithmetic progression. It says by the same number, not the same percentage, but the same number, right? However, the number of literates in village C, this is C here, remained the same in 17 and 18. Now it's simple data here. We'll stop here. The number of literates remained the same in 17 and 18. This thing is 17. So this is 50%, and this 18 is 70%, right? So what it's basically saying is, you'll not write it. I'm just doing this for explanation. Can we say that 70% of the population in 2018 is equal to 50% of the population in 2017? Isn't it? It's like that, because the number of literates is same. So literates is what percentage? In 17 it's 50%, in 18 it's 70%. So what does that mean? Population of 17 upon population of 18 is 7 upon 5, isn't it? 70 upon 50 or 7 upon 5. You know that. So this is like that. Then say that this is 7 units, then this is 5 units. Now we'll use this data. Reduced by the same number from 17 to 18, by which it reduced from 16 to 17. It's ratios, but hardly makes a difference. So can we directly say that this would be 9? So if the population was 9 units in 16, 7 units in 17, and 5 units in 18, we've got this just by using this. Now I'll strongly discourage you from writing all this. No, that's just for explanation. The moment you look at this part of the graph, and you look at this is 50%, this is 70%, you should immediately realize that the populations, the total populations would be in the ratio of 5 to 7. Now which would be more, which would be less? Just think like that logically. Obviously 17 has to be more, 17 has to be more, 17 would be 7, because a lesser percentage, just 50% of 17's population is equal to 70% of 18's population. So you could have done this logically as well. So this was not really required. Move forward. What was the population of the village in 16 expressed as a percentage of its population in 18? So 9 to be expressed as a percentage of 5. So what would be the answer? 9 upon 5 into 100%, which gives you 180%, which is option C. A very simple question. Again, I do not think it could have caused any kind of problem to anybody if you understand the use of ratios and all. But yes, you cannot go in that conventional bookish manner that we've been studying since school. So that's not really required and can be done quickly. Now these two questions appeared in almost in this format in the exam last year. They were simple. You have to be with me on this. They were quite simple. Anybody with a cool head who gave it a patient reading could have cracked them easily. So do not get scared when people say kuch type naya aa raha hai, they're changing, they're getting tougher and all. Yeah, at times it's a slightly tougher paper, a slightly different paper, but all that is manageable. And do not forget that the paper, the changes, everything that happens like that would be there for everybody. So it's not going to trouble you alone, even if we kind of assume that it was tough, but you've seen that for yourself, it was all quite doable. Fine. So believe in your ability and you'll be able to do that. And self-belief and confidence are extremely important, be it academics or tests or life in general. So what we have done is that now it will be followed by three questions created by us for you based on this format only, a little different. So just try your hand at that. This is the third one. Again, quite manageable. Look at this, try answering it with 100% accuracy. Go ahead. Now what is given here? It says the sum of literates in village B. So we are talking about this now, B. In 16 and 17, the sum is 2176. And the sum of literates in same village in 16 and 18 was 2472. So you can see here that this 16 is the common part here. So basically 2472 minus 2176, and this number minus this number, which is equal to 296, is the increase in literates from 2017 to 2018. So from 17 to 18, the increase is of 296. So this is the number by which the literates increased in 18 over 17. Look at this now. If the number of literates in the village in 18 had increased by 15.38% over the previous year means 2017 you're talking about. So it's very simple. Now you know that this 15.38% increase is nothing but this 296. The only challenge here probably was knowing what this 15.38% is. You have to know some basic multiples of reciprocals. So what is this? This is nothing but 2 into 7.69%. This is a familiar reciprocal. This is 1 by 13. So this is nothing but 2 into 1 by 13, or this is 2 by 13. It's like that. So basically from 17 to 18, the increase happened like this. If this was 13 units, this is the number of literates. In 17, then in 18 it became 15 units. An increase of 2 over a base of 13. So this increased by 2. So this 2 here is basically nothing but this 296. So what we can get is this number, this 13. So what would be the number? 296 into 13 by 2. And what would this give us? This would give us this 13. What is this 13 representing here? 13 is representing the number of literates in this village in 2017, in this previous year. Fine. So you know that if you have to work it out, you can do that. This would be 1924. Fine. The question is, how many illiterates were there in the village in 2017? 2017 is this thing. What is this? This is, and if you calculate this, is 70, 60, 50, 40. So this is 40%. So 40% people in village B in 17 were literate. So how many were illiterate? 60. So what would be the answer? 1924 into 60 by 40, or you could directly have written it like 3 by 2, or better still, if you don't even do this, I mean the better way to do would be just like that, just writing here as 3 by 2, which will give you the answer, and it will be 2886. So that is your answer to the question, which is option B here. I mean, not even need to approximate all. These are so simple in terms of calculations and all. Should not have troubled you. But yes, again an easy question, and you get questions like this. I mean, if I want, I can just kind of change the language in a way in which it appears very lengthy. But believe me, they will not change anything here. The questions generally that appear in all these exams are like that. At times the test series do throw a few ridiculously tough questions at you, and even at the time of taking the test, or after you are through the test, you're looking at the solutions now, you'll realize that I'll never be doing that in the exam. So if you come across a question like this which you think you will never do in an exam, do not bother, do not feel bad about it. No, the actual exam would generally not do that to you. Most of the people who suffer in the actual exam suffer because of the exam pressure, because they're not very confident about their ability and all. Otherwise, I've seen people who have done 40-50 mark questions worth 40-50 marks out of 60 in this test. So there are people who are good and who do it like that. So remain confident, and you should be able to do well over here. I'm showing you question number 4 and 5 now. This is question 4 first. Attempt it. It's a good question. Fine. Try and get the answer. You'll like the question. Go ahead, do it. Alright, let's discuss this. It's a little more complicated than the previous 3 questions, but not at all difficult again. What was the key statement here? This one. Had a group of 100 illiterates left the village. Which village I'm talking about here? Village B. The population of literates in the village in 17 would have increased by 1.60 percentage points. Now this is important. This language is important here for the simple reason that most people, or many people rather I should say, do not know the difference between percentage increase and the change in percentage points. I'll give you an example. I have discussed this earlier as well. Say there are 10% Americans in a committee, in a group. Fine. So there are 10% Americans in a group, or out of the total population 10% are Americans. Now if this percentage becomes 12%, nothing else changes, this becomes 12%. What is it in terms of change? So if I have to talk about, listen to it very carefully, if I have to talk about percentage change, so the percentage earlier was 10%, the percentage now is 12%. So percentage change in percentage would be 2 over 10. Getting it? 2 over 10. What is this 2? 12 minus 10 is 2. So 2 over 10, this is how you will calculate it, which is 20%. Fine. So you'll say that the percentage representation of Americans has increased by 20%. So it was 10% earlier, now it's 12%. Or you can say that this has increased by 2 percentage points, this language. This is a change of 2 percentage points. It's the unit of percentage. Fine. So something changes from 11% to 13.5%. It's a change of 2.5 percentage points. Unfortunately, many of the content creators do not know the difference and they just write it like that. So while doing a question, you'll have to try and find out what the person must have been thinking while framing that particular question, and it'll be clear most of the times. I'm sure many would like it like write it like it changes by 1.6%. Fine. So just try and understand what the person is trying to imply. In standard books and all, you'll get it right. You'll not find it like that. It's generally in the bank test series and all that you find this language. Anyway, coming back to the question. So what is happening here? Had a group of 100 illiterates left the village. The population of literates in the village in 17. So what is happening here? There is no change in the literate population in 17. So there is no change in the literate population. It was earlier at this mark here. This is B. We're talking about village B here. It was at 40%. Now from 40%, it is at 41.6%. So this has happened here, isn't it? So I'm talking about literates here. So this is about literates in this village B in the year 2017. So from 40% to 41.6%, though the number has not changed. Only the illiterates, some illiterates, 100 illiterates have left, but the literate population as such has not changed. So what would you do? Again, we'll use proportionality. If the percentage has increased from 40% to 41.6% with that same number, fine. When can it happen? It can happen when the overall population, literates plus illiterates, changes in this proportion from 41.6 to 40. So if this was the population earlier, this must be the population now, or it must have gone down by this 1.6. So if 41.6 was the population earlier, it reduces by 1.6 and becomes 40. This I'm talking about the overall population. Only then this can happen. Now you know the numbers. So what is this 1.6 that have left? This is this 100 illiterates. So if 1.6 represents this 100, what would 41.60 mean? That would be the total population of the village. So what would be the total population? 100 into 41.60 divided by 1.60. It's a simple calculation, you will get it as 2600. Start thinking like that. I've shown this all to you, but the moment you look at this question, the only thing that should click to you is this: 100 into 41.6 upon 1.6, which is 2600. So what is this now? This is the total population of the village, this village B in 2017. Now you can calculate anything and everything. So what is the literate population? 40% of this is literate population. How much would that be? 40% of 2600, which is 26 into 4, this is 1040. So this is the total literate population of this village in 17. Out of it, you know that 326 were females. So if this is females, so how many literate males were there? Literate males, because you know their percentage, which is 58%. So it would be 1040 minus 326, which gives you how much? This is 714. So this is 714, which is the number of literate males. This is the number of literate males. 58% is the 58% is the percentage of illiterate males. So this is nothing but 42%. 100 minus 58 is 42%. So this is 42%. So what is the total male population here? So that would be 714 into 100 by 42. So this is the total male population, which gives you 1700. So this is the total male population. What is the total population? 2600. This is the total male population. So what is the total female population then? 2600 minus 1700, which is 900. This is the total female population. What do you need to calculate? The percentage of females in the village who were illiterate in 17. So you can either subtract this 326 from 900, or you can do it directly. So if we calculate this 326 over 900 as a percentage, it will also give you the answer, because you can always subtract it from 100. It will give you 36.22%. Fine. You subtract it from 100, you get the percentage of illiterate females in this village in the year 2017, which would be 63.78%, which is option A, which is your answer. But yes, this was the most complicated of all the questions that we have done. Required 2 steps, but the most important one would be this one here, when we calculate this directly. So the way you do it would be, you do this calculation straight away: 100 into 41.6 upon 1.6. You arrive at the population of the village, which is 2600. From this 2600, you know the percentage of literate, which is this 40% from here, which gives you 1040. You know the number of literate females, 326. So you get the number of literate males, which is 714, which is also 42% of the total male population. So what is the total male population? You do this calculation, you arrive at 1700. So 1700 males out of a total population of 2600. So 900 females. Out of these 900, 326 are literate. So what is the percentage of literate? 36.22. You subtract it from 100, you get 63.78, which is the percentage of females in the village in 17 which were illiterate. So you got this answer like that. Again, not difficult, would probably take you just a couple of minutes while I'm explaining. I have to explain a lot of things, but yes, if the method is clear to you, this definitely would not take you more than a minute or a minute and a half. Definitely not more than that. The pace at which you guys solve quadratic equations and all, they should ideally take just 30 seconds. But yes, you'll have to think a bit and then attack it. The questions that people generally call tough are questions like these. They are questions like these. I'm not talking about a few ridiculously tough questions in test series, but yes, these are the kind of questions that people call tough, and they're not tough. Was it tough? No, it is not tough. It's just that under exam pressure, and you not get this question paper, that's one bad part about it. Had you got the question papers of all these actual exams, after coming out of the examination hall, you would have realized that most of these questions were doable. It's just that you were in a hurry, you were under tremendous pressure, and you could not handle them at that point in time. Otherwise, no, they're not very tough. I know it from so many good students. Good students means students who actually are good at quant. Good at quant, can think at their feet, can no question or no kind of question or no type of figure or graph or anything would trouble them or bamboozle them. So these are kind of questions students I'm talking about. They have told me that the questions, many of them are doable. It's just that since we're in a hurry, there are so many questions in the section, not read them properly. So do not do that to you. Anyway, I'm showing you the next question now. this is an easy one. The only thing that you can do here is make a silly mistake. This is definitely an easy one, and this will also have a lesson for you. So just look at it, try doing it, get the answer right, and let's finish the session on a high. So try answering it. Now this is a tricky one. How many of you marked the answer as option D here? Option D. Many of you must have. This is a simple setup, very simple question. There's nothing much here that can trouble you. There are 3 types of families, so it's a simple setup. Village C, people live in just one of these 3 setups, 3 types of families. A couple with 1 child, so it's a family of 3. A couple with 2 children, it's a family of 4. And a couple with 4 children, that's a family of 6. So just 3 kinds of families. It generally doesn't happen in practical life, but yes, questions are framed like that. And the number of these 3 types of families were in the ratio 5:2:1. So it will be 5 into 2 into 1. So this is 15, this is 8. You will not write all this, this is just for explanation. 15 plus 8 plus 6, this is 29. So what can be the minimum possible population of this village? It will be 29 people. So 29 people can be adjusted in this because there is nobody else here. So it's very clear to you. Now the question says, which of the following could have been the population of village C in 2018? What do you do generally? Go with the options. So this is not a multiple of 29, this is not a multiple of 29, this is not a multiple of 29, and the fourth one, option D, is a multiple of 29. So what you could have done here is, answer is not option D, it's option E. What you could have done here is that when you checked with this 29, this number is divisible. This number is divisible, and it seems that this can be the answer. One thing that you've forgotten here is that you have got an additional piece of data here, this literacy thing. So this is village C, and I'm talking about 2018. So village C, this is village C, 2018 is this green one, so that is the number. What you also know is that 70% of the people in this village are literate. Now 70% of this number, 13311 into 0.7, this should be an integer, isn't it? The number of literate people cannot be in decimals. So that is the reason why D also cannot be the answer, and the answer would be option E. Option E gives you an integer when it's multiplied with 0.7. Also it's a multiple of 29. So it's divisible by 29, and also when multiplied with 0.7 it gives you an integer. So it satisfies both the things, and that's why it becomes the answer. So the reason why we put this question here is that there are at times small things like that in questions, and when you come out of the examination, all you'll feel as if I got it right, isme kya galat ho sakta tha, and this does not give you a +2. In fact, this results in a -0.5. Fine, so that makes a difference. You must have seen that happening to a lot of people. Mera acha hua tha, pata nahi, something went wrong. So at times there are small things like that. As far as this question is concerned, another thing, the moment you understand this 70%, and in fact you've been doing this is the 5th question in the series. The moment you understand this is 70%, can we not say directly that the answer has to be a multiple of 10? Isn't it? The answer has to be a multiple of 10. How many multiples of 10? Just one. So answer has to be option E, isn't it? But it will not work this way for most people generally, and I'll not blame you. Even I would have thought like this only. Multiply karte hain jaldi se and come at 29, do this. But just be careful. At times these things do click. And the moment you realize that this is a multiple of 29, feel like chalo already chalte hain, 3 options pe time kharab ho chuka hai. No, be careful. Look these things, do it with a calm head, and it generally works for you. I hope you got this. It's probably the simplest of the 5 questions, but very prone to errors. So that was an interesting question, isn't it? Simple, but yes, tricky, and many people would get this incorrect. Right, so this is the end of the session. I hope you realize that this radar graph is nothing, and it's just a form of representing data. So if in future anybody tells you aisa graph aaya tha, waisa graph aaya tha, this comes, that comes in the mains exam, do not let the person scare you, frighten you, intimidate you. No, that's not really required. If you understand how to interpret data when given in the form of tables, you already know how to do line charts, bar graphs, pie charts, and all these fancy diagrams. I'm thinking of doing a question on funnel as well. I heard that there was a question on funnel kind of a chart in 2019 SBI mains. So again, it's a very simple format, but yes, I'll try and do just one question on it. The result of SBI PO and SBI clerk also now is out, and many of you have got your goal already. If you converted SBI PO, look at bigger, brighter things. Fine. I don't know if you're satisfied with this. Very, very good. It's a great job. Fine. But you can look at things like RBI Grade B and all. Moving forward, you can look at civil services, whatever is your target. If you got SBI clerk, I'm very happy for you. But that is not it. Fine. We'll not stop there. We'll keep working towards a goal, which is to get into a PO's position at least. Fine. So keep working. I'm happy for you. Congratulations. But yes, we'll keep working. For those of you, the unlucky ones who missed out on both these exams, so especially the ones who missed out narrowly, and a lot of you have missed out narrowly. It's just 1 month away, the next one, IBPS PO mains, and I'm not talking about all the other exams that keep happening, EPF and all. There are a lot of papers here, fine, but I'm just talking about bank exams at the moment. So it's about to happen. It's just 1 month, exactly 1 month from today. It's 31st, so it'll be I think 30th, yes. So exactly 1 month, 30 days. Make the most of these 30 days. Do not feel disheartened and all. So even if you had to kind of feel sad about it and all, it's over. It's been 24 hours even after the clerk result. Fine, get over it now. Keep working, start working. If you've been doing things in the right manner, if you've been putting in all your efforts in the right direction, if you've been very honest about your preparation, if you're not just not fooling you, there are some people who just kind of make themselves believe that they're doing the right thing, or they're putting in the efforts, whereas they're not. It's very visible, even they know it from inside. So if you think you're not doing any such thing, if you think you've been honest, you've been working hard, the timing's gonna come, and it cannot happen that you'll keep failing, and it's simply not possible. I've seen people I know from 2017 failed marginally, failed again marginally in 18, and then 3-4 exams failing marginally. Fine, and I'll say that in terms of preparation, they were fairly well prepared. Could not they have done it better, but probably a bad interview somewhere, a bad puzzle, so which resulted in a slightly lower score in reasoning, an RC passage gone wrong, so things like that, but not click somehow. Fine, converted this time. So it has to happen. The important part here would be that you do not lose heart or start thinking it's not for me, bank exams are getting tougher and all. Yes, they've got tougher in the last 2, 3, 4 years. They've got tougher, but it's not the questions, the content that's made them tougher. It's the competition. Fine, the number of vacancies has reduced, but if you've been missing it marginally, it's just around the corner. So do not get this feeling, get the better of you. No, you're good enough. If you've been doing it right, you're bound to succeed. You cannot not succeed if you're doing it in the right manner. So just keep working, make the most of these 30 days. We'll see if we can do a couple of more such sets for you, especially when it comes to all those obscure looking charts and graphs and data like that. And it's not problematic, guys, believe me. Look at the various test series, practice mock, olive board and all. You'll get many such questions. Practice them. You'll get that much required confidence, and then you'll be able to crack them very, very confidently. But yes, the important part would be to keep going. Do not treat these exams as stop and start. Fine. So what many people do, not all, but many people do, is that when a result comes, they'll be in that shell for the next 7 days. Kharab hua, ye hua, wo hua, dukh manaya. Then, acha ye aane wala, I'll start working on it again. No, it should not be the way. The way you should work is, I'm on a mission. What is the mission? Cracking one of these 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever is your agenda exams. So it can be insurance, it can be bank, it can be SSC, CGL, or whatever exams. Fine. And I'll stop only on the day when I get my goal, or achieve my goal, or realize my dream, whatever it is. It can be SBI PO, it can be RBI Grade B, it can be a top rank in SSC, CGL, whatever that is. So till the time that happens, I'll not stop. I'll not be sad. I'll not repent. I'll not wait for results and all. No, I'll just keep working. So keep working, keep taking exams. So I'm working. 7th, there's an EPFO exam. I'll take it. 14th, again an EPFO exam. I'll take it. 30th, it's IBPS. I'll take it. One day, one result would suddenly tell me, now you can stop the process. It's done. It's over. Now it depends on you. Just wait for that day. It'll come sooner rather than later. Just keep working. Do not be too sad about it. Happens, yeah. It's very competitive. It's a vast country. What can we do? न्यूजीलैंड में पैदा होना चाहिए था, फिर अगर इजी चाहिए था, वहाँ भी आसान नहीं होगा. But yes, it's tough over here. So just keep working. I should be fine. Thank you for hearing me out. We met after a long time, fine, and just give it your very best. I thank you for your patience. I wish you all the very best. Good luck.